Millionaire reveals surprise after black woman waitress saves his life on the streets. In the heart of a city that never sleeps, the neon lights glowed like stars lost in the urban haze. Crowds bustled, laughter echoed. But for Camila, a young waitress at Le Ciel, she felt like a ghost drifting through a crowd that never truly saw her. Dressed in a simple black apron, she served the city's elite, smiling at tables filled with laughter and clinking glasses, while her heart ached with the absence of her father and the weight of her reality. Her neighborhood, vibrant yet often overlooked, pulsated with stories like hers, stories that went untold, just like her own. One ordinary evening, as the clanking of silverware and chatter filled the air, the atmosphere shifted. At a corner table sat Ryan Hale, the city's most talked-about billionaire. Tall, with sharp features and an air of confidence that turned heads, he was surrounded by a cadre of suits and laughter. Camila approached. Just as she leaned in, her world tilted sideways. Ryan suddenly slumped forward, his glass shattering on the floor. A gasp rippled through the room, and everything froze for a heartbeat. Camila's instincts kicked in. Without a second thought, she rushed to his side. Her training transformed into a desperate battle for life. Panic surged as she checked for a pulse, a wave of fear crashing over her. The whispers around her grew louder, the very air thick with uncertainty. "Someone call 911!" she shouted, her voice cutting through the silence. The room erupted into chaos, but Camila was focused. She spoke to Ryan, urging him to hold on, to fight. Time stretched. The harsh beeping of a heart monitor felt like a countdown to despair. When the paramedics arrived, they whisked him away, and with him, a part of her heart felt tethered. As he was stabilized, gratitude shone in Ryan's eyes, and an unexplainable connection lingered between them. Weeks passed, and their paths intertwined through charity projects aimed at helping women experiencing homelessness. As they navigated this new world together, shadows from their pasts emerged. Ryan fought with the fear of never measuring up to Camila's struggles, worried his wealth would always come between them. On the other hand, Camila felt small, an outsider in a lavish world that felt foreign, constantly battling her own insecurities. One evening, under the twinkling lights of a rooftop terrace, Ryan's heart raced. The place held significance for him, a reminder of his newfound lease on life. "Camila," he began, voice trembling, pouring out emotions he had kept locked inside. "I want to be with you forever." As he knelt, ring in hand, her heart soared. But then he froze, waiting to reveal a secret from his past. The air thickened with tension. Camila's Bria. Will she accept his proposal or turn away from the emotions bubbling to the surface, uncertain of how his secret will reshape their bond? Hey, before we continue with this incredible story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without prior notice. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you are still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content coming up. And since you're here, leave that powerful like that helps me a lot with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, from which city are you watching this? I love getting to know every amazing person who is part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. Ryan knelt, ring in hand, his heart racing with anticipation and fear. Camila's breath caught in her throat. A moment stretched into eternity. The city, once vibrant and bustling, faded into the background. There, the windows shattered, raining glass onto the terrace. A dark figure burst through, clad in black and wielding a firearm. Confusion erupted. Gasps filled the air. Laughter turned to screams. Camila's heart thudded in her chest, blood roaring in her ears as she ducked instinctively, pulling Ryan down beside her. "Get down!" she shouted. panic igniting a fire within her. The platter of bodies scrambling for safety surrounded them. She felt Ryan trembling beside her, the warmth of his body contrasting with the icy fingers of fear creeping up her spine. "Who are you?" Ryan yelled, voice thick with disbelief. The intruder lifted the weapon, eyes aflame with rage. "You think you can take everything from me?" His voice tore through the shock. "You think I'd let you ruin my life?" Camilla's mind raced. They had no idea what was happening, why this man, this stranger, felt so threatened. With a flick of his wrist, he turned toward Ryan, eyes darting, breathing heavy. "You've done it again, but this time I won't let you win." Ryan's face blanched. What had he done? The world shrank to the tension in the air, thick and suffocating. Camilla could hardly breathe. A lump lodged in her throat. She turned slightly to catch a glimpse of the chaos. People scrambling, chairs overturned, the sounds of shattering glass like ugly thunderclaps. A shot rang out. Time exploded into chaos. Camilla's heart dropped as a figure fell to the ground, a flash of red blooming against a backdrop of confusion. Murmurs of fear and disbelief rippled through the crowd. She turned, seeing Ryan's face drain of color, a stark realization dawning in his eyes. "No!" he bellowed, pushing her behind him, instinctively shielding her. The intruder's weapon trembled, a wild look of desperation flashing across his face. Then it hit her. The connection, the ties that bound Ryan and this madman. Fragments of conversation darted through her mind. "What have you done?" she gasped, eyes wide. It couldn't be true. "What do you mean? You don't understand." Ryan's bewilderment twisted into something darker. He is... Who is he, Ryan? Camilla's voice was barely a whisper. But before Ryan could reveal the truth, another shot fired. A piercing scream sliced through the air, and chaos erupted again, like a wave crashing relentlessly on the shore. She felt the world spinning, confusion and pain flooding her senses. Was Ryan involved in something dangerous? Her chest tightened as realization flooded her with dread. "Camilla!" Ryan's voice pulled her back, urgent, pleading. Behind the figure, the previously still night crumbled into a series of unpredictable movements, shadows swarming. The situation spiraled out of control, and Camilla couldn't tell if her heart was racing from fear or betrayal. Beneath the urgency and chaos, anger pulsed in her veins. Was the man wielding the gun telling the truth? Had Ryan built this life, this charity, on lies? A shattering truth hung in the air, heavy with weight, promising to change everything. As lights flashed from approaching sirens, she felt the fragments of their love, so tender just moments before, teetering on the edge of destruction. Her entire world was crumbling, and every heartbeat echoed with uncertainty. Would they emerge from this together, or would the truth rip them apart forever? The question lingered, taunting her as chaos enveloped them. Camilla's breath hitched, her eyes darting between Ryan and the intruder. The gun was like a dark omen, its cold metallic glint stealing the warmth from the air. She felt the chaos closing in, cries of fear surrounding them like a storm. "Ryan!" Panic surged through her. She grabbed his arm, desperate not to lose him. But his gaze was locked onto the gunman, confusion battling fear in his eyes. "What's happening?" Ryan started, but the figure's voice roared like thunder. "You think you can hide? You think you can smirk at my pain?" Her heart raced as adrenaline fueled her senses. Every detail was sharp. The flickering candlelight, the terrified faces, the warm blood pooling nearby. She focused on the present, trying to breathe through the whirlwind of emotions crashing inside her. Suddenly, out of nowhere, another shot rang out. Camilla cringed, a scream clawing at her throat. But this time, it came not from the intruder, But from the crowd, a young woman, previously hidden, stumbled into view. Blood blossomed on her shirt, and she collapsed, gasping, eyes wide with shock. "No!" Ryan shouted, his voice crumbling. He darted toward the fallen woman, but the intruder blocked his way, pointing the gun. A silence fell like a heavy blanket. Camila's chest tightened. Who was this woman? Why was she shot? A wave of recognition crashed over her. The woman looked familiar. She was one of the charity volunteers, always cheerful, always supportive. "Stay back," shouted the gunman, trembling. "I'm not afraid to do this." "Please, just put the gun down." Camila found her voice, somehow stronger now. Her heart thudded painfully as the weight of the situation bore down on her. The world felt unreal, like a fever dream where shadows twisted truths. The gunman hesitated, the frantic energy swirling around him. "You two don't understand. Ryan ruined my life. I had everything, and he took it all. The company, the respect, everything." Ryan froze. "What are you talking about? But Camila stepped forward, recognizing a deeper pain in the intruder's eyes, a wild mix of rage and desperation. "You're hurt. Is this really the answer?" At that moment, the air shifted. The lights flickered, and sirens wailed closer. It was like a wave building up to a rush. Suddenly, the gunman pointed his weapon at Camila instead of Ryan. "Enough! You don't get to play hero," he screamed, eyes wide. "I'll make you pay." "Stop!" The word burst from Ryan's lips, and in that second, he lunged forward, eyes fierce and determined. Camila watched, heart racing, as Ryan tackled the gunman, aiming to disarm him. But then a revelation struck, hard and sudden. The woman on the ground whispered something, her voice weak, yet cutting through the chaos. "Ryan, you promised." It hit Camila like a brick. The woman's face twisted into fear and betrayal, eyes aimed at Ryan. He looked stunned, frozen in the act. Was this what he had promised? Was his connection to this woman deeper than charity? The room erupted in chaos again. Camila felt dizzy, trembling. The truth twisted around her like a snake. The pasts of these three were woven together in a way she had never realized. Ryan had kept secrets, buried them under layers of charm and warmth. While Ryan struggled with the gunman, Camila's heart raced with disbelief. What was really going on? The weight of betrayal and pain pressed down, and amidst the frantic yells and cries, she caught glimpses of the truth towering around them like an impending storm. Confusion blurred her thoughts. Love? Betrayal? The chaos spun faster. What had she stepped into? Then everything erupted once more. Ryan shouted, the gunman grappled, and the woman gasped. But above it all, one question echoed in Camila's mind. What exactly had Ryan done? And just like that, the ground felt unsteady beneath her. Would she still see Ryan as the man who saved her, or the one hiding dark secrets that could tear everything apart? In the chaos of shattered glass and desperate cries, Camila felt her heart pounding. She was caught in a storm of confusion. The weight of betrayal wrapped around her like a heavy cloak. Ryan struggled with the gunman, and every move felt like a desperate grasp at hope. But the woman on the ground? She was fading, eyes pleading with Ryan. "Ryan!" Camila cried out, her voice cracking. "What is happening?" But before he could respond, the lights in the terrace flickered wildly, illuminating shadows that danced like ghosts. Just then, a loud crash echoed from the entrance. Metal clanged against metal, and in that instant, the craziness escalated even further. A figure stormed in, a tall silhouette barely visible through the chaos. Camila squinted against the shadows. The newcomer was fierce, armed not just with a weapon, but a presence that immediately shifted the atmosphere. Before she could comprehend the change, the intruder trained his gun on the new arrival. "Who the hell are you?" he roared. Confusion rippled through the crowd. "Stop!" the new figure shouted, voice powerful and commanding. "Enough of this madness." It was then Camilla recognized him. Her breath caught in her throat. Lucas? Lucas was Ryan's brother, the sibling he'd told her about, the one who was supposedly estranged after a family feud. What was he doing here? Did he come to help or hurt? His eyes flared with anger, then softened when he spotted Ryan. "Get away from him!" Lucas bellowed, moving with a swift grace that cut through the tension. Time seemed to momentarily freeze as everyone held their breath, confusion thickening the air. Ryan spun around, confusion clouding his expression. "Lucas, don't!" But the gunman was wild with rage, his eyes darting between the brothers. "You caused this," he spat. "You both ruined my life." Suddenly, the air grew heavy with something else. A secret, twisting through the might of their emotions. Camilla could sense it, a truth waiting to be unleashed. Without warning, Lucas surged forward, aiming to tackle the gunman with a sudden ferocity. Camilla instinctively dove for cover, the reality closing in on her like a vice. "Ryan!" "Protect yourself!" she shouted, panic surging as her heart raced, uncertainty curdling in her stomach. A loud bang rang out again, and this time it wasn't from the gun. A flash of pain cut through the air. Lucas fell to the ground, clutching his side. The world tilted, everything spinning wildly. "Lucas!" Ryan screamed, eyes wide with horror as he rushed to his brother. But Camilla couldn't move. She was paralyzed by shock, watching helplessly as the truth shattered around her. "I had no choice," the gunman shouted, his anger faltering. "You both think you can just take everything and leave me with nothing?" But Camilla's world was collapsing. She saw Lucas go pale, blood pooling around him, staining the fresh terrazzo tiles. It was too much. Everything surged forward in waves of disbelief. Lucas, his brother, had come back, but not in the way she imagined. Why? What happened? Ryan's voice trembled, the veneer of control slipping. The painful truth hung thick. "You messed up, Ryan. You ruined the family. And now?" Lucas gasped, choking on his words. "You can't fix this. You can't fix what you've broken." Shock pierced the air like a high-voltage line, leaving Camilla gasping for breath. Lucas's accusation echoed loudly, changing everything. What had Ryan done? She was left teetering on the edge of revelation. The man she loved, the one who saved her, was he also the architect of this tragic end? In that moment, a flicker of clarity shone through the chaos. Every truth she thought she understood twisted unrecognizably. Camilla was no longer sure who was the hero and who was the villain. The realization struck her hard. Love blurred the lines of truth and betrayal, and she was right in the middle of it all. "Betrayal runs deeper than blood," whispered a voice in her mind as she stared at Ryan, whose face twisted with anguish. And just like that, uncertainty loomed heavy in the air. What was love without trust? A fragile connection resting on the brink of destruction. Could Ryan escape this? Or had he already lost everything? Camilla's heart raced, caught in the whirlwind of chaos and questions. Lucas lay bleeding, and Ryan's anguished face cut deep into her chest. Her mind spiraled, the pieces of the past shattering around her. What had Ryan done? What secrets had he buried beneath his charming smile? As Ryan knelt beside his brother, desperation clawed at Camilla's chest. "Lucas, stay with me," he pleaded, his voice laced with fear. Lucas gasped for breath, eyes darting, the world tilting around him. A cold shiver slithered down Camilla's spine. The urgency thickened the air. Lives hung in the balance. Then, Chaos shattered the moment again. Out of the shadows, a figure emerged, crashing through the glass doors. An unexpected force. It was Mia, one of the charity volunteers, her face pale, eyes wild with panic. "Get down!" she screamed, rushing toward them, but it was too late. In the blink of an eye, another gunshot rang out, loud and piercing. Time seemed to stretch. Camila barely registered the flash in Mia's eyes as she fell to the ground. "No!" Ryan roared, but the sound became a low growl of disbelief. In that split second, Camila's world dimmed. She rushed towards Mia, but an invisible chain held her back. The air hummed with tension. The gunman was losing control, a mix of panic and fury radiating from him. "Why did you come here?" "Oh," he yelled, his hands shaking. "You're ruining everything!" "Enough!" shouted Lucas, voice strained but defiant. "You're drawing blood over a grudge." Blood. The word echoed in Camila's mind, and before she could process it, another wave of madness crashed over her. The gunman turned his fury toward Lucas, his fingers tightening on the trigger. "Lucas, no!" Ryan lunged, but the chaos morphed the moment. A blinding flash illuminated the space as a third shot rang out. "Please, stop," Camila cried. Darkness closed in around her. It felt like she was drowning, trapped in her own shock. The room fell silent as everyone processed the horror. Mia lay motionless, a stream of crimson staining the floor. Ryan collapsed beside Lucas, who groaned, face pale. "Brother," he gasped, clutching his side. The weight of betrayal twisted like a knife in Camila's gut. What had they all stumbled into? But it didn't end there. The gunman, now terrified and frantic, shouted, "You don't get it! I'm the one who lost everything!" As his words hung in the air, the truth began to unravel slowly. The gunman turned his rage back to Ryan, a confession escaping his lips that sent shivers racing down Camila's spine. "I'm not just a victim. You took my life away when you stole my company and left me to rot." "What?" Ryan faltered, disbelief coating every syllable. "I never took anything from you." "You did!" the gunman spat, tears melding with rage. "You're not just my enemy. You're my brother." Time shattered around Camila, reality twisting with every heartbeat. Ryan and this gunman were brothers? The world spun, her vision blurred as the implications crashed over her. Betrayal she couldn't comprehend tore through her thoughts. The tangled web of love, pain, and lies enveloped her like a dark fog. Lucas gripped Ryan's arm, pain seeping into his expression. You didn't tell her?" The air grew thick with tension. Camila could barely breathe. Whispers of a hidden past wrapped around her, clutching tightly. Ryan's voice trembled, the weight of revelation bearing down on him. "I thought I could protect you, keep you away from this." Every shadow in the room stretched long, a pulse of uncertainty. The truth bared teeth, and the world as she knew it crumbled. Camila's world spun faster. The boundaries of love and betrayal blurred beyond recognition. In that terrifying moment, everything she believed about Ryan teetered on the brink of ruin. The man who had saved her, the one with dreams of a shared future, now stood before her tangled in secrets too dark to grasp. What was this twisted family history? What else lay just beneath the surface? She felt the gravity of their choices pulling them down, threatening to swallow them whole. Could she still find the man behind the mask, or had the truth shattered everything they built? Camila's heart thundered in her chest as she stood frozen in disbelief. The world around her melted away, the chaos of screams and sirens fading to a distant murmur. She looked at Ryan, whose face twisted with anguish, and back to Lucas, who lay bleeding on the ground. Betrayal wrapped around her thoughts like an iron fist, squeezing tighter with every passing second. But amid the swirling confusion, the gunman's face morphed. The rage contained within locked eyes began to unravel, expression shifty. He yelled, voice tremoring as if the weight of his words threatened to crush him. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a sharp crack echoed through the terrace, sharp and undeniable. A second gunman emerged, sprinting forward with purpose, his face hidden beneath dark cloth, eyes glinting with a menacing focus. "Get down!" he shouted to the crowd, and panic took hold like a wildfire. He raised his weapon, pointing it at the first gunman, as if the air were made of tension and timelines. "What the?" Camila gasped, confusion blending with terror. Before anyone could react, the second gunman fired. The loud bang sliced through the air, the sound sharp and sickening. Time slowed as a spray of color burst forth, bright red against the pale sky. It took Camila a heartbeat to understand. The gunman, the one with anger etched on his features, staggered back, eyes wide in shock. He clutched his chest, confusion painting his face. The reality of betrayal shifted once more. He fell to the ground, reverberating disbelief echoing in the atmosphere, blood pooling around him like a dark ink blot spreading across a page. "Jake," Lucas muttered, his eyes widening with realization. "No, it can't be." Fear gripped Camila's heart. "Jake," she whispered. The name hung in the air, too heavy, too familiar. It clicked, a name that echoed in Ryan's stories. Tales of familial rivalry and loss. Jake was Ryan's half-brother, the one who had been driven out, the one they'd all thought was gone. Ryan's breath caught in his throat. "Jake, don't!" he shouted, the desperation mingling with shock. But it was too late. The gunman who had once held them hostage was now down, and in the chaos, Ryan's world spiraled further into darkness. Screams erupted from the crowd as realization dawned, a family feud tearing apart innocent lives. And then, like the flick of a switch, eyes turned toward Ryan. Whispers clawed through the overwhelming fear. He did this. It's his fault. Heart racing, Camila felt the world shift beneath her feet. Ryan, the man she had grown to trust, the one whose love she thought could conquer anything, stood at the epicenter of this unraveling storm. Could he have known? Just as the sirens wailed closer, the weight of the accusations hit like a tidal wave. Memories flashed through Camila's mind. Ryan's stories, the way he'd spoken about family betrayals, the darkness lurking just beneath his charming facade. Anger and confusion twisted, causing her to tremble as she took a step back. Was he involved in this? Did he know all along? "No, it can't be true," Camila breathed, almost choking on the words. But the eyes around her burned with accusations. "Ryan, how could you?" Lucas breathed, his face pale, eyes filled with a mix of pain and hurt. "You knew this would happen." "Whatever happened between us and Jake, it's over," Ryan shouted, desperation flooding his voice. "I never meant for any of this to happen." But words fell flat in the air, overshadowed by the whispers of betrayal swirling around them. The truth was unraveling, exposing the raw, festering wounds of a broken family. Camila clutched her chest, feeling betrayed by every moment she spent with Ryan. As the sirens grew louder, a horrifying thought clawed at her mind. What if the man she'd been falling in love with was not who he claimed to be? The city had begun to twist, turning into a maze of betrayal and deceit she couldn't navigate. As the chaos closed in, she realized everything was changing. Nothing would be the same again. Would she stand by his side or walk away? The weight of uncertainty pressed down on her, leaving her gasping for answers, struggling to make sense of the man standing before her, searching desperately for the truth hidden in the shadows of this twisted story. What else could lie beneath the surface? Camila's heart pounded violently in her chest. the revelation of Ryan's past spinning like a wind. Is it true? Are you really related to him? Her heart felt heavy, a stone sinking deeper with every passing second. Ryan's face twisted, horror mixing with desperation. I didn't want to bring you into this. I thought it was over. The frantic murmurs of the onlookers rose around them, a swell of disbelief. How could Ryan have hidden something so crucial? Anger rippled through the crowd. Eyes stared, judging. A gasp echoed from one corner, mixed with whispers of scandal and betrayal. "Let's get out of here," someone shouted, and panic flared. Camila felt the air thicken with fear, her legs trembling as she processed everything unraveling before her. But then, a crushing pressure descended as sirens blared and lights swept across the terrace like angry stars. "Stay back!" the remaining gunman screamed, his voice tight with fear. "Nobody moves!" Just as he spoke, a sudden loud crack pierced the air. An explosion, maybe? Or the sharp sound of a door bursting open. Camila's pulse raced. The crowd flinched back, instinctively seeking shelter. And then, chaos erupted anew. A group of masked figures stormed through the entrance. Their faces hidden, movements swift and precise. "Get down!" one yelled, brandishing weapons, faces hard with purpose. In the blink of an eye, the room was engulfed in a sudden blaze of violence, a chaotic dance of fists and gunfire. The first gunman fell back, a look of shock etched on his face as he stumbled to the ground. Camila's breath hitched, spellbound by the sudden turn of fate. She couldn't process it. One moment, betrayal felt like the hardest blow, and in an instant, they were thrust into a far darker reality. "Ryan!" she yelled, eyes wide as she turned to him, the world spinning out of control. But his expression had changed completely. Where there had been fear and confusion, now flickered something different. A fierce anger, a guarded determination. "Camila, I need you to trust me," he shouted over the noise, pushing people back. She could only nod, barely keeping up with the whirlwind around her. Then it happened. A swift motion, a flash of something metallic. A woman from the intruders group rushed at Ryan, a knife glinting in her hand. "You think you can claim what's ours?" she screamed, rage spilling from her like poison. Time slowed. In a split second, Ryan's hand shot out, grabbing Camila's wrist, yanking her aside, just as the knife sliced through the air. They tumbled back, landing hard against the ground. Pain shot through Camila's body, but she barely registered it, eyes locked on the unfolding madness. "Why are they here?" she gasped, heart pounding louder than the chaos. But Ryan's focus didn't waver as he pushed himself up, searching the crowd. "It's all connected. The company, the feud, all of it," he rasped, urgency lining his voice. "Connected?" Camila echoed, confusion swirling in her mind. "But how? You're saying there's more? What else?" Before he could answer, a loud bang rang out. Another shot fired. This time it hit its mark. A man in a black suit crumpled to the ground, collapsing like a puppet severed from its strings. Gasps erupted, eyes widened in collective horror. The woman who tried to stab Ryan froze, shock washing over her. It was the moment every secret and lie splintered into realization. "You killed him!" she screeched, turning on Ryan, fury twisting on her face. "When would you stop?" The world shifted again, as if shaking itself awake. All the threads of their lives tangled together in a horrifying knot. Camila watched in disbelief. Faces she thought she knew crumbled, twisted by betrayal and danger. Nothing felt safe anymore. She wanted to run, but found herself rooted in place, witnessing the wreckage of a love built on shadows. Then, amidst the noise of chaos, Ryan's expression morphed, shadowed by grief. "I'm not done trying to save you, Camila." Her breath caught, his words heavy like lead. Was he still fighting for her? Or was he fighting to protect something darker, something that intertwined their lives in an inescapable web. As sirens blared behind them, she realized the depths of betrayal ran deeper than she could ever imagine. Ties she never knew were binding them, pulling her closer to a truth that would change everything. Amid the tensions, the chaos, and the dangers pressing in, one question lingered ominously in the air. How much of Ryan's world was built on lies, and could she trust him at all? Camilla's heart thundered in her chest as she stood frozen in disbelief. The weight of the moment crashed around her, churning emotions threatening to drown her. She looked at Ryan, whose face twisted with anguish, and back to Lucas, who lay bleeding on the ground. Betrayal wrapped around her thoughts like an iron fist, squeezing tighter with every passing second. But amid the swirling confusion, the gunman's face morphed. The rage contained within locked eyes began to unravel, expression shifting from hatred to something resembling despair. "You ruined everything!" he yelled, voice tremoring as if the weight of his words threatened to crush him. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a sharp crack echoed through the terrace, sharp and undeniable. A second gunman emerged, sprinting forward with purpose, his face hay. He raised his weapon, pointing it at the first gunman as if the air were made of tension and timelines. "What the?" Camilla gasped, confusion blending with terror. Before anyone could react, the second gunman fired. The loud bang sliced through the air, the sound sharp and sickening. Time slowed as a spray of color burst forth, bright red against the pale sky. It took Camilla a heartbeat to understand. The gunman, the one with anger etched on his features, staggered back, eyes wide in shock. He clutched his chest, confusion painting his face. The reality of betrayal shifted once more. He fell to the ground, reverberating disbelief echoing in the atmosphere, blood pooling around him like a dark inkblot spreading across a page. "Jake," Lucas muttered, his eyes widening with realization. "No, it can't be." Fear gripped Camilla's heart. "Jake," she whispered. The name hung in the air, too heavy, too familiar. It clicked, a name that echoed in Ryan's stories, tales of familial rivalry and loss. Jake was Ryan's half-brother, the one who had been driven out, the one they'd all thought was gone. Ryan's breath caught in his throat. "Jake, don't!" he shouted, the desperation mingling with shock. But it was too late. The gunman who had once held them hostage was now down, and in the chaos, Ryan's world spiraled further into darkness. Screams erupted from the crowd as realization dawned. A family feud tearing apart innocent lives. And then, like the flick of a switch, eyes turned toward Ryan. Whispers clawed through the overwhelming fear. "He did this. It's his fault." Heart racing, Camilla felt the world shift beneath her feet. Ryan, the man she had grown to trust, the one whose love she thought could conquer anything, stood at the epicenter of this unraveling storm. Could he have known? Just as the sirens wailed closer, a dark shadow moved in the corner of her vision. A figure emerged from the chaos, slipping through the throng of terrified onlookers. A woman dressed in all black, her face obscured by a mask. Camilla squinted, heart racing. What was happening? Who was she? Suddenly, the masked woman raised her arm, revealing a small device. A blinding flash erupted, illuminating the terrace in an eerie glow. Camilla shielded her eyes, the air thick with tension as the masked figure shouted, "Stand back! Everyone, now!" But her voice pierced through the panic. In an instant, a new wave of confusion hit, catching everyone off guard. "Ryan, get away from him!" Lucas screamed, his face pale, eyes wide in horror. With one decisive motion, the masked woman pressed the device. A deep rumble shook the ground, sending vibrations rippling through the air. "No!" Ryan yelled, turning, but it was too late. The ground beneath them burst open, a powerful force erupting, sending debris flying everywhere. Screams filled the air as bodies tumbled and chaos reigned supreme. Camila staggered backward, her world flipping upside down. She saw Ryan falling, reaching for her. Desperation etched across his face as darkness swallowed him. In those split seconds, everything shattered. The blast knocked Camila off her feet, pain shooting through her body. She struggled to get up, gasping for breath amid the chaos. The masked woman laughed, a chilling sound that echoed through the terrace. "You've been blind, Ryan. It's time to see the truth." The dust began to settle, and confusion filled the air like fog, making it hard to breathe. Camila blinked through the haze, looking for Ryan, searching frantically. But then she saw it, a piece of paper fluttering at her feet, caught in the still air. She snatched it up, eyes widening as she read the words scrawled messily across the pages. "You've always been in the dark, Ryan. Your father's secrets, my secrets. We are family, but not as you thought." A name slipped from her lips before she could even process it. Your father. The shocking truth cascaded over her like cold water. The whispers of betrayal echoed, shaking her to the core. What did it mean? The weight of secrets wrapped around her, leaving her dizzy, lost in a web of lies. Before she could catch her breath, the masked woman turned to the crowd, eyes glinting menacingly. "Let the truth be known." And just like that, the words fell heavy, the truth poised to reshape everything. Camila was left breathless, caught between love and betrayal, enemies and allies. What lay ahead, buried in the darkness surrounding them, would redefine their lives forever. Would she ever truly understand Ryan? Would they be torn apart by the truth, or bound together by it? The uncertainty loomed as the night hung thick with secrets waiting to unravel. Camila stood there, heart racing, trembling as the masked woman shouted about the truth. The weight of the revelation hung thick in the air. Around them, chaos bubbled and surged, screams mingling with the crackle of fear. Everything felt wrong, like a fever dream that had spiraled into nightmare. She glanced at Ryan. Desperation etched across his features, but there was something else there too, a flicker of determination that sent her heart racing. "Camila, we have to get out of here," he urged, his voice low but urgent. But before she could respond, the masked figure pointed to the chaos. "You think you've got it all figured out, Ryan? You haven't even scratched the surface." Eyes sharp, Camila felt them all narrowing in on Ryan, the blame palpable. Raw fear and disbelief twisted her stomach into knots. The crowd's murmurs grew, voices overlapping in a cacophony of doubt and accusation. Then it happened. The ground quaked beneath their feet, and a loud crash reverberated through the terrace. Camila stumbled, her breath caught in her throat. The sky itself seemed to torn apart, the very foundation rumbling as if the world wanted to swallow them whole. "Get back!" Ryan shouted, instinctively reaching for her. But the chaos enveloped them. As they struggled to keep their footing, a blinding white light flared up, illuminating the chaos like an exploding star. The masked woman went wide-eyed, the bravado shattering as she reeled back. What? No, it wasn't supposed to happen like this. As the brilliance faded, Camila caught a movement in the distance, something she never expected. A young girl stepped through the haze, her features mesmerizingly familiar. "Mommy?" she called, her voice piercing the madness. Time froze. Camila's heart exploded. "What?" she gasped, eyes locked onto the girl, shock coursing through her. No, it can't be." Everyone turned towards the child, confusion striking their faces. The masked woman's expression twisted, panic overtaking her. "No. Stay away," she screamed, pulling her weapon tighter against her. In that instant, The girl ran straight to Ryan. "Daddy!" she cried, arms outstretched. "Daddy?" Camila whispered, the words barely forming. "Ryan, what is happening?" The air crackled with tension. Ryan's face shifted from shock to disbelief, his mouth moving, but words wouldn't come. He reached down, hesitantly, his hand trembling as he grasped the little girl's arm. I thought you were safe." "Safe?" Camila echoed, backing away as disbelief roared in her mind. "Ryan, what does she mean?" "Camila, it's not what you think," he stammered, eyes darting between the girl and her. But before he could explain, a surge of fury erupted from the masked woman. "You can't bring her here," she shrieked, desperation staining her voice. "You promised to keep her away from this life. With everything happening, you think I'd let the truth die?" Ryan retorted, confusion mingling with anger. Camila didn't know which way to turn. Everything was spinning, shattered pieces of her reality crashing to the ground. What truth? What the hell is going on? Panic surged in her chest, swallowing her whole. As the sirens drew closer, dread settled like ice within her. This unexpected twist sent ripples of danger through the air, igniting a fear that threatened to consume them all. The weight of the moment crashed down, forcing her to confront the unfathomable. "Is that really your daughter?" The question fluttered out before she could hold it back. Ryan gripped the girl's hand tighter, but uncertainty flickered in his eyes. I didn't want this for her," he admitted, his voice quivering. The masked figure trembled, voice cracking. "You brought this on her. You think you can keep her safe now?" Shock rippled through the crowd, murmurs entwining with gasps. This moment of reckoning clung to the air, seeming like a spark poised to ignite an entire forest, engulfing everyone in flames. And beneath it all, betrayals layered deep as secrets unveiled, a truth twisted in darkness threatened to shatter everything they believed. Camila felt the world around her pull away. There was no going back now. The child's innocent plea hung in the air, charged with shadows of the past. The masked woman's fury ignited, and her gun trembled in her hands. Chaos erupted as the sirens grew louder, a harsh reminder of the world outside. "Get away from her!" Ryan shouted, stepping protectively in front of the little girl. His voice was steady, but Camila could see the fear in his eyes. "This isn't what you want." The masked woman stared at him, face twisted with rage. "You brought her here. You think you can protect her? You've made this worse." The little girl, his daughter, clutched Ryan's hand, eyes wide and innocent. "Daddy, I'm scared." Ryan dropped to one knee, drawing her into a protective embrace. "I know, honey, I'll keep you safe, I promise." Camilla's heart twisted. She wanted to reach out, to comfort, to understand the mess wrapping around them. But the masked woman's voice sliced through the moment, raw and emotional. "You think you can just keep pretending? You can't erase the past." With every word, Camila felt the tension seep deeper. The crowd murmured, eyes darting between them. What they witnessed was beyond comprehension, a family drama exploding in the middle of chaos. "Enough!" A voice sliced through the panic. Lucas, trying to push himself up from the ground, called out fiercely, "We need to end this, whatever it takes." "Lucas, stop!" Ryan looked torn, but the urgency didn't allow for hesitation. "You're hurt." "I'm fine," Lucas shot back, determination shining in his eyes. "We can't let this go on." The masked woman's grip faltered for a heartbeat as she processed the brotherly bond before her. "You're both deluding yourselves." But it cracked. Just a smidge, enough to let doubt seep in. "Please," Camila stepped forward, raising her hands. "No more fighting. We're all trapped in this cycle. We can stop it." Ryan gazed at her, uniting their fears in a silent understanding. "We can turn the page," he said quietly to the little girl. "Let's all go home." The image of leaving hung between them, hopeful yet fragile. But it was enough. It flickered. In that instant, The masked woman sighed, lowering her weapon slightly. Home? You think there is one? Before Camila could react, the darkness around them shifted. The crowd held its breath, hoping for resolution, but bracing for impact. I can't let my daughter be part of this, Ryan whispered, voice tinged with sorrow. I can't let you drag her into the same darkness. The masked woman trembled, all the anger bleeding from her face. I didn't want this. I wanted to save her too. Then let us help you. Let us all heal, Ryan urged, reaching out slowly. Time stopped as they stood on the precipice. Camila felt a pulse of hope but knew the danger still lurked beneath. Silence wrapped around them, heightened the tension. Each second stretched thin. Then the sirens finally arrived. Flashing lights broke the stillness, enveloping them in a wash of blue and red. The police rushed in, guns drawn but confused faces searching for clarity amid the chaos. "Get down!" an officer shouted, aiming for the masked woman. "No, wait!" Ryan shouted. "She's not the enemy!" Camila grabbed his arm, her voice fierce. "They need to know the truth." In that moment, everything crashed together. The history, the secrets, the pain. Shouts erupted as officers assessed the situation, trying to piece together this chaotic family web. And just like that, the moments slipped through their fingers. Time resumed, and the masked woman bolted, darting into the shadows, leaving confusion in her wake. "Daddy!" the little girl cried, reaching for Ryan, tears streaming down her cheeks. He gathered her tightly, eyes brimming with emotion. "I'm here! I'm right here!" But as they watched the chaos unfurl, Camila felt a pang of uncertainty. They had faced so much, but was this truly the end? The darkness loomed again, whispering questions yet unanswered. They were together, but the battle was far from over. Love, hope, and fear danced in the air, weaving a story that was only just beginning, one where they would confront the truth, finally face their past, and forge a new path. Before another word could be spoken, the sirens swallowed the silence, the future unwritten. This was not just a story about survival. It was a chance for rebirth, a poignant moment capturing the fragility of life. And as they stood there, caught between love and chaos, each felt the pang of what lay ahead. Uncertainty mingled with hope. As the scene lingered, pulse racing, remember that the journey continues. Now, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the upcoming exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to boost the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this ending. Share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to know this conclusion. Don't wait 1 second more to